Hey, what's good, guys? Today we're going to be going over two very interesting vegan topics that I've come across. Once on Reddit, another from a video posted by Vegan Deterioration a bit over a month ago, a couple months ago now, I think. And that one I find particularly interesting. There's not a whole lot to it, but the topic itself, the question that was brought up, is something that really invokes some curiosity and some discussion to be had around it. Now, we're going to start off this story about a father who had a son who was raised vegan for the most part, had been vegan for most of their life. And that child decided, you know what, I really don't like being alienated and isolated from my friends, and I'm sick of this not being able to eat non-vegan candy, not being able to eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's. And he started sneaking around using his allowance money, his chore money that they called it, to purchase these food items for himself. And he did it in secret, but eventually his father found out about it, thought it was all right, but the mom involved, the vegan mother, wasn't having it. Now, before we really get into it, I just want to mention that I've talked about this topic many times in the past when it comes to vegan children, which this being a problem of just like, how do they exactly fit in? Because the way vegans, these staunch vegans raise their children vegan, like it tells you one thing, that the health and well-being of their kid is not at the forefront, and also their best interest is not at the forefront of things. It's their diet, their lifestyle choice, that is what's at the forefront. They don't really care if their kid fits in, and they fill them with this ideology, and if they take it on and they own it the way that their parents do, then it causes an isolation between them, the other kids, because they can't eat the same things that these kids eat. And then they also are going to be sitting there judging their friends, being like, why are you eating meat? You're a terrible person. That's what my mom said, you know. And it creates this issue in young impressionable children. Fortunately, this kid was smart enough to think for himself and decide, you know what, I don't want to live that lifestyle. I want to be my own autonomous person and make my own decisions. And that is what brings us to here. Am I the asshole for giving my son non-vegan food behind my wife's back? I'll tell you right now, absolutely not. Your lifestyle choice is your lifestyle choice. If your child doesn't want to live by it, then they shouldn't have to. I am a 32-year-old male. My wife is a 35-year-old woman. We have been married for 8 years and have a 12-year-old son together. About 6 years ago, my wife decided to go vegan. She was sent the documentary Dominion by a vegan friend of hers, and ever since has said non-vegan food is revolting and refuses to eat it. Now, I'm just going to chime in real briefly here. I am shocked that just simply being sent to the Dominion movement was enough to convert you, which I think it finally explains why people like Tosh Peterson continue to promote it nonstop, because it does work on some very weak and simple-minded people. And why I say that is because she makes it very clear how simple-minded she is, because she loses sight of what's really important in this relationship, and that is the well-being of yourself, your child, and your significant other. And she's not able to put this vegan ideology aside, what she saw in Dominion, for the sake of her own family. After a long conversation, I agreed to go vegetarian and be vegan in the house and around her, which she was happy with. No, she wasn't. She also decided our son should be vegan, which after seeing a dietitian, I also agreed with. Things have been fine with this arrangement until a few months ago, when I began finding wrappers from non-vegan candy and even burgers from McDonald's in my son's school bag, which he had been buying with chore money. And I want to comment on him agreeing that the kid should be vegan. You're wrong. A dietitian, some might tell you, yeah, your kid can be healthy on a vegan diet. You just have to be very careful, very meticulous. And you know what? Maybe give this family the grace of, perhaps they really did do a splendid job at making sure that their kid got all the nutrients that they needed. Okay, fine. However, you're still forcing this belief on a fully autonomous human being as well. Yes, they are a child, but once they get older, the decision really falls into their lap, not yours. Just the same way as I feel when it comes to religion. It's no different. Like, you may have a certain religion, you may practice it, but your child is not you. They're free to practice whatever religion they want to, or not practice at all. And this, like I said, is no different. I had a conversation with my son, and he confessed he felt lonely and excluded eating vegan around his friends, and that they always had much better candy than he did, and it wasn't fair. Ironically, I'm actually eating vegan candy right now. My wife got it for me at some point. I don't think of it she intentionally got me vegan candy, but she just knows I like candy. It's decent. It's not bad. I mean, it is what it is. It's not as good as conventional candy, but you know, it's candy nonetheless. I decided I didn't want him spending his pocket money on snacks and throwing out the vegan snacks we actually brought him instead of buying games, etc. It made no sense, but I also know that the way my wife feels about non-vegan products, so I began buying my son what he wanted on our way to football practice instead. It's already a red flag to think that you know, as the parent in this relationship, that you cannot tell your wife that this is happening, that you have to hide this from her. That is a huge red flag. Your wife shouldn't have an issue with your child being happy and healthy, regardless if it goes against your lifestyle choices. He's not harming himself. He's not harming anyone. You might try to argue that he's harming these animals, but the fact of the matter is, these animals are already dead. Long story short, my wife recently found out what has been going on and completely flipped out. She called me an animal abuse enabler and a few other names and said I was corrupting our son. Now, she is not speaking to me. Our son panicked and told her I had bought the snacks for him and he didn't know they weren't vegan. I don't blame him for that. He just doesn't want to be in trouble with mom. Am I the asshole here? Absolutely not. And let's get into the weeds of this. Now, first off, kind of a side comment here, but if I was with somebody and they decided, you know what, I'm gonna go vegan, I'd probably divorce them on the spot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, understand this. When I say they're going vegan versus not going to consume animal products, those are different things. Like, my wife right now already doesn't really consume animal products because she just simply doesn't like the concept of eating meat, but she does it because she knows that it's necessary for her health. It makes things simple, like when she's eating with her family or me, like she'll eat chicken, and that's kind of the compromise. And I do pretty much the same thing, whereas I'm actually willing to eat some other things as well, like some fish, but I typically don't eat fish unless I'm in an area where they've got good fish, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, I won't really eat it. So that's kind of like consistent with my diet and her diet and blah, blah, blah. But when I say they decide I'm gonna go vegan, I mean like kind of vegan that you guys picture, that like the ones that we're talking about in these Reddit stories, these staunch vegans that are going to call you an animal abuser because you ate meat. If that's what I'm going to have to deal with, that I'm going to have to protect my child from this vegan parent because they're not going to approve if my kid wants to eat steak, or if my kid wants to eat whatever, and if I have to adjust my lifestyle to fit theirs, to be so that I'm not insulted and judged by them constantly, that's a no-go for me. I'm leaving that relationship. Like, there's no debate to be had. If that's what's going to happen, I'm leaving. It's that simple. And the fact that this guy decided to stay with this woman is interesting. I don't know why you would allow yourself to be subjected to that. You must really love this woman to be basically knowing that she would belittle you for enabling your son to eat meat. Or even if you decided, you know what, I kind of miss having steak, but then you go and eat it, she's going to bombard you with hate comments, like kind of like how Tosh Peterson or Vegan Teacher does, and that she'll try to force Dominion down your throat. Like, I don't know why you would want to deal with that personally. But to each their own. I'm not him, he's not me. We're not the same person. Now, actually, regarding the topic of what he's done here, I couldn't approve of it more. I mean, the fact that this father was willing to say, you know what, I'm just going to buy you that stuff that you want, save your chore money for other things, for your entertainment, for your joy. You shouldn't have to be alienated from your friends. You should be able to enjoy the same things that they do, as long as it's not harming you. You're not putting any disgusting chemicals in your body or things along those lines. That's absolutely the correct thing to do as a parent, to recognize that your child isn't you, that your child is their own autonomous human being that should be allowed to make whatever decisions they want to make, as long as they're not hurting themselves or others around them. And I haven't even gotten into like the health argument, the health debate here, because the fact of the matter is, a dietitian may say, hey, your kid can be healthy on a vegan diet if you supplement properly. but they never will say absolutely. They will always say can. And that's because most dietitians are well aware of the fact that you can supplement as properly as possible and still have deficiencies, just because supplementation isn't one-to-one perfect. Some people's bodies, and most, when they get those supplements, it's not converted as simply as just getting it from the actual regular normal source. An example, animal products. And I'll just give you a quick example of one of the nutrients, like vitamin A. Now, most people usually talk about vitamin B or omega-3s, but vitamin A is an interesting one. So the vitamin A found in plants is actually what is called a carotenoid. And what's important about this is it's not actually vitamin A. It is something that gets converted to vitamin A by your body, and then it can be used the same way as the vitamin A that comes directly from animal products, which is the only place to actually get vitamin A in its truest form. So that includes the supplements. There are also these carotenoids which need to be converted. Well, the vegan supplements are anyway, which is obviously what you're going to be consuming as a vegan. You're not going to be getting the animal supplements, you're going to be getting the vegan ones. The issue is, not everybody's carotenoid converter in their body is as efficient as the next person. Some people, that conversion factor could be as low as 10%, 1% possibly. So you might be getting, you know, whatever it is, say it's like 100 milligrams of vitamin A that you're supposed to get a day. I don't know what actually is like a recommended amount. I could Google it, but it's not important for this whole analogy. And guess what? You get the 100 milligrams from your supplements, or you get it from your plants. You meet that threshold. But if your body's only converting 10% of that, then you only got 10. You're now 90 milligrams deficient. And this goes across multiple different essential nutrients that mostly come from meat. This includes like your B12s, this includes omega-3 fatty acids. Like, it's no different. This is why there are so many vegans that have health issues that are like, I don't know what's wrong, I get everything I'm supposed to. But in reality, their body isn't at all. They're deficient and they don't even know it because their numbers say otherwise. And if you guys are interested in this video style here, don't worry, there's going to be more to come. In addition to that, we're actually going to talk about some ex-vegans that had health issues, that talk about their story and what they experienced. And what you're going to notice very fast, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same issues, the fatigue, the feeling like a zombie, feeling brain fog all the time, cloudy, like you can't even think properly. Dizziness, like people literally collapsing, people feeling like death on these vegan diets. But anyway, we're gonna wrap up with this topic and move on to this last one, which is a quick one. And this is what it is. Hey mamas, I'm having a really hard time with my husband because he's a vegan and I'm vegetarian. But since I figure out I'm pregnant, I can't drink protein shakes or any other vegetable plant protein. It makes me so sick. I'm starving for meat, and I tried to tell him how our baby needs the protein. I want to eat meat again. He hated this and makes me feel so bad, saying I don't care about animal life and etc. But this is such a different moment for me, and I'm so emotional that I don't know what to do anymore. I feel I'm not giving to my child what he needs to develop, and will be my fault if he has any problems. What should I do? Now let's unravel this thread. So not only is not getting enough protein extremely dangerous for you, protein is really important for your brain function, your muscle growth, and many, many, many things. And this is also very dangerous for your child, because without protein, this could result in a plethora of birth defects, developmental issues. Like, you are not going to have a happy, healthy, developing fetus if you are not getting enough protein. It's just so obvious. Protein is responsible for the growth of muscles. It does so much in the development of a fetus that if you're not getting in it enough of it, yeah, you're not going to have a very good birth. I'll tell you that much. If you even give birth to a child, that's not going to be a healthy one. But of course, the vegan father here cares more about these unnamed animals that he'll never see, that will never ever actually be impacted by his decision to do this. He cares more about that than his own mother or his own significant other who is pregnant with his future child. He cares more about that than the developing fetus child themselves. If your wife is like, hey, I think I need to do this in order to get the nutrients that our future baby needs, you should be sprinting to the grocery store to get her exactly what she wants, no questions asked. The animals that you're pretending to protect here are not more important than your own family, your own wife, your own future child. And I can't believe I even need to say that. It should be so obvious. The problem is, what I'm exposing here, what I'm talking about, because this sort of shit is way more common than you people probably think. These staunch vegans really do think like this. So many of them. I mean, even Unnatural Vegan, who I usually don't talk too much shit about because I somewhat respect her, kind of, but like, even she is raising her kids vegan, and there is not enough data, not enough data that goes back far enough, that is well researched, that states that you can have a child raised on a completely vegan diet and expect no health problems whatsoever. You cannot find any sort of research on that. And even the things like Department of Nutrition and Dietetics, like the big organization that most vegans reference when it comes to the studies on veganism, even they retracted their statement that they made, a decade ago, saying that veganism is safe for all, stages of development, from a child, from a not even being born, like a fetus, to an adult. They said that a decade ago, and they walked that statement back after further research and said that it can be a healthy diet for adults, if it's properly planned. And they go into greater detail later on, talking about how properly planned basically means by a professional nutritionist, not just by your typical suburban family. But anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you did enjoy, feel free to like and subscribe button. Till next time.